And this beer and their 6 main beers are all named after the dogs. My favorite being Elliot, the beer, not the dog. Elliot is a great dog. I'm not.
You'll like Ollie better than Elliot. Let's be realistic, all right?
Well, I think I've only met Elliot.
The dog, not the beer.
Syrup dripping from his fake robe. Who did he see when he heard who was there? Now it seems that he should.
All right, everybody, welcome out to the Log Room. It is Tuesday, May the 4th. That means something. 2021, Jersey Johnny coming at you. With me, as always, is none other than Mr. Beer Samurai. Say hello, Mr. Samurai. If you can stop eating for 1 friggin' second.
I'm going to try.
Right.
So, glad Hanonis Klieg Dog.
Glad Hanonis Klieg Dog. And for those of you that don't know what that means,
yeah, it's Swedish for Happy Star Wars Day.
Happy Star Wars Day, folks.
That is for our fans over in Sweden.
There you go. Apparently we have them.
So I'm sitting here trying to figure out the most graceful way to eat this Nerf shank. You know, I know a Nerf herder, and he got me some Nerf shanks, and you know, you got to get some cinnamon in there. It gets rid of the gaminess of the Nerf.
Gets rid of the gaminess of the Nerf. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So
I got you.
At any rate,
so
that's pretty yummy.
So you have anything to say to me or anything?
Oh yeah, John. May the 4th be with you,
and also with you, and everybody else,
and everyone else.
May the 4th be with you. There you go.
So
what are you? You know, I mean. Normally we wait until the guest comes on to start drinking, but what are you drinking today? Because I know you got something special for this particular podcast. Well, maybe not necessarily the beer, but what you're drinking out of.
Well, the beer's special too.
Beers are always special, of course.
This town lager. I mean, it's a great way to start anything off.
There you go.
And I'm going Old Jersey on the show today.
And notice what I put on there
because of our guest. There we go. This is the light side.
This is the light side.
We'll see if I get converted over to the dark side later.
I think you're going to turn dark by the end of the show. Yeah.
But
He's drinking out of Chewy.
Chewy's. We just
move his
actually we need. Well, there's a way to do that. We've got to.
Jesus.
His head open like that.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the biggest nerd show that you will watch this evening. So.
Now we'll see if I what.
By the way, those of you just listening to the audio podcast, that was a lightsaber. That noise. So I just wanted to.
It was Yoda's lightsaber.
It was Yoda's lightsaber. There you go.
Because Yoda's going to slice off Chewie's head. First time I drank it this way and slammed myself in the head because I'm not
too bright.
I'm not too bright.
Right.
So we're going to go, and now my microphone's got to get in the way of Chewie's head or vice versa.
There you go. How's the carton going? How's this town?
I love it. I love this beer.
Good beer. And it's a lager.
Oh my God, it's a lager.
It's
a lager room.
A lager on the lager room. Imagine that. So,
anyway. It's not a first, but it's a rarity.
It is a rarity. All right, well, we're a few minutes into the podcast. I think we should bring our guest. We mentioned New Jersey. I'm wearing all New Jersey.
Why you're drinking Old Jersey beers.
We're drinking Old Jersey beers today, and not that it's just Jersey, but it's in Jersey, so you'll get the clue in a second. But in any event, I'm wearing Axe and Arrow and shirt and Pinelands cap. They're both going to be at this particular New Jersey event. Let's bring him on right here. The man, the myth, the legend, Jon Henderson. Right there. There he is.
There he is.
You guys are a bunch of fucking nerds.
Yes, we are.
I'm like, what the fuck did I get myself into?
You didn't warn him.
Paid just from being on the podcast.
All right.
The nerdiness is right. I don't know if you could be a nerd with that cool of a mustache.
You know what? I actually believe that nerds have pivoted this mustache to where it is. You guys are cracking beers. I'm cracking beers.
Okay, crack your beer.
What are you drinking?
I'm done. Tuckahoe Vibrant.
Tuckahoe Vibrant. There it is.
There you go.
Right there.
So I'm at an advantage. My homeboy Rob Callahan tends to swing by the office and make sure that my fridge in the office has beer in it at all times.
Very good. That's always good to have. There's nothing wrong with that.
That's a good friend.
Mm-hmm. That is a great friend. How was that?
Oh, that's nice. Indian Pale Ale, I think it's like 6.2%. So here's what's cool. I don't know if folks who have grabbed this photograph on the can done by a friend of ours, a local photographer, Christian Gagne. Shot a ton of every event we do. He's shooting photos, but great dude. Just cool how Rob and the Tucko team included it in the presentation.
It's a great can. It's a great label. I like that.
Good can.
So.
Beautiful sunset. Should be sunrise though, because it's the ocean. We're on the East Coast. It should be sunrise.
Well, it could be a sunrise. How do you
So
know?
gentlemen, may the 4th be with you.
And also with you.
Also with you.
I'm going to crack my beer if you don't mind.
Get at it.
I'm,
Get at it.
I'm drinking. Ready? This is a little out there. I picked it up on Sunday on a little birthday wrap up trip down to Pittman and Glassboro. Stopped at Axe and Arrow.
Nice.
It's Mo Fluff. It's a peanut butter and fluff sour.
Fluffernutter sour, huh?
A fluffernutter sour. So
How does that?
That's
Yeah, I'm curious.
well, it's a Berliner Weiss that they apparently that they conditioned on peanut butter and marshmallow fluff. So it's
And then
interesting.
it's sour. That's
And it's a sour.
creative.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
another way to destroy a kettle, huh?
And a little just extra
So
marketing
brew
for Axe and Arrow. I'm drinking it out of an Axe and Arrow glass.
Man, you guys are branding on point.
Well, we try.
We do.
Okay.
Cheers, gentlemen. May the 4th be with you.
Cheers.
Oh, Jesus. That is a fluffernutter sour. Oh, my God.
Do you get fluffernutter in there?
No, you totally get fluffernutter.
Do you?
You can even pull it apart. You can get the peanut butter, you can get the fluff, you can get the fluffernutter, combined taste. And it's a sour. It's a Berliner Weiss. So
Nice.
it's really tasty.
May need to get down there.
It'd be entirely a different show if it was just a fluffer.
This-
That's my opinion.
That would be a completely different show. Yeah. So on that note, we got a couple comments. Let's go to the comments really quick. First of all, PJ Windle says, gentlemen.
That's a quality dude right there.
Absolutely. Brian Alt says, cheers, because it's Tuesday at 6:30-ish. Ish. There you go. Matt Potensky said, settled in with a Brick City Engage Mode IPA. And there's those Sasquatch fingers again. He added the C to bricks.
Yep.
And I don't know what these mean, but.
Astronauts, rockets, beer.
Okay.
I mean, I think because there's no
Star Wars theme.
Yeah, there's no Star Wars emoji.
There's no Star Wars emoji. There
Yeah,
should be.
there
Otherwise,
needs
there's
to be
not by this point. Yeah.
Yeah, there should be a pew pew emoji at least.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
I think Facebook or the internet frowns against anything pew pew now.
Really?
Yeah. No, I get it. I get it. And Matt
Why are
says,
they
I know
frowning?
bricks.
Why are they frowning? Oh, because it's weaponry.
It's weaponry and everything. Yeah.
But it's not a rubber band gun.
Right.
No, and that is a cool thing right there.
There you go. So can you, if you hold the rubber band gun and say pew pew, is that okay? Is the gray area there? Maybe a line? Or...
A rubber band gun is more about boing, boing, boing,
Boing, boing. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. Boing,
You
boing.
can't say pew pew. You have to say boing, boing. Yeah, right.
So they're really upset about the sound that an imaginary weapon that we don't have yet makes.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Correct. That would be correct. So
Interesting.
well,
Okay.
whatever. So let's talk about AC Beer Fest. Let's talk
About what now?
The Atlantic City Beer and Music Festival.
I've heard of this.
Okay.
I've heard of this thing.
In fact, we're going to throw up the branding right here. Hold on. There we go. That's this
There it
year.
is.
Look at that.
Look at it.
I'm branding up all the time.
The Wild Wild West at Caesars presents the Atlantic City Beer and Music Festival June 4th and 5th at Bader Field in Atlantic City, New Jersey. There you go.
What's interesting is that is a lager glass he's used in the graphic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Look at that.
That is a lager glass.
Look at that.
It's a beautiful thing.
That is an absolute beautiful thing. Look at
And is that a Valkyrie riding a rainbow into the beer?
So if you think about Atlantic City, and this
Yes. Okay, I know you're going.
Yep. So you know where I'm going. So back
Right.
in 2019, our buddy John Falco, he did a promotional poster with the guys from Tonewood for the festival, just as something cool. I mean, it's for stickers. I actually have one on my desk here. You can't see it, and I loved the poster art. And I said, listen, I asked the guys at Tonewood, and I asked John. I was like, I love this. This is a perfect poster. Can we get some sort of version of this for the festival for 2020, 2021? And it turned into what we use. So, anything that's diving horse and Atlantic City centric, I love. I mean, if you were in the office, you'd see a bunch of diving horse stuff. There's actually a picture on my wall. I hope that's not coming off. There's a picture on my wall of diving horse. So I thought it was cool, and really didn't deviate from the poster they created from Tonewood because it was that good. It was like, hey, it's worth using a couple times. It's just the guy does a fantastic job.
That's awesome. That's awesome. It really does. And yeah, I mean, you look at it here, put it up again. Yeah, just because of the diving angle of the horse, it's a really cool logo. He's diving into beer. I mean, what better to dive into?
The silhouette in the background is Atlantic City. It's the steel pier. It's so you can actually see some of the properties. It's neat. He did a fantastic.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the one at the far edge by the L is the Claridge. Yeah, it's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's an awesome graphic. That's awesome.
I appreciate the city, so we try to highlight it as much as possible.
Absolutely. Why wouldn't you? Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, all right. So let's go all the way back. What first made you want to organize a beer fest? I mean, I know you've been doing this forever, and I've been coming down to them and working at them as much as you've been doing them. So, but
if we jump in our DeLorean, am I allowed to use Back to the Future references?
Yeah, I'll go for it. It's fine. Yeah. As long as we don't put any graphics or say the actual line as it is.
Well,
use a line from the movie, like
you can't
a
do
sound
this,
from the movie.
Oh no, never mind. No,
wait.
Well,
this is gonna be good.
We may have sparked his inner geek.
This is going to be good. Oh, there we go.
There we go.
So we're just going to look at the bottom of Spock for the rest of this. Then.
There we go. That's perfect.
Yeah, and we're nerds.
On that one.
All right. So.
All right. So if I
hop in the DeLorean, go back and.
So we hop in the DeLorean.
The other thing you can do is this.
Yeah.
There you go.
So if we hop in the DeLorean and go back in time, probably 17 and a half years ago, it took us a good year and a half to convince the ABC, City of Atlantic City, and other partners that a beer fest was a viable, good idea.
Sure. I
was with a bunch of friends, and we were in Pennsylvania, and we hit this. I've always been a beer geek. Like from the jump, I always drank better beer, and I didn't understand Coors Light, Miller. I didn't understand it. I didn't like it. It wasn't complete. It wasn't. I just didn't like it. And I had discovered on a trip with my dad, I discovered Beck's. Okay. Which at the time was a good beer. Still a good beer.
Still good beer. It's just not much to compare it to back then.
Yeah, correct. And then found myself at Omegang.
There you go.
That's a nice jump.
That's a good place to find yourself, actually.
We were in Cooperstown. We were at the baseball, the Hall of Fame. And I drank this beer, and I was like, holy cow, I found something I liked. Then we found our way to, and I don't know if it still exists. There was a beer festival, and I'm not going to call it a craft beer festival because the amount of shit that was there was absurd. Right. So we went to this festival in Pennsylvania, and it was just poorly done. It was poorly done from an experience standpoint. It was poorly done from a opportunity for discovery standpoint. And, at the time, I worked for Caesars Entertainment or Harrah's, and I was a casino host. But I had been producing the Atlantic City Tattoo show for about 3 years, so I had kind of my feet in the event world. Yeah, live event, festival-esque world. And I thought, you know what? There is an opportunity for discovery here. There is the ability to, if I like better beer, there are a shit ton of people out there that are clamoring for an opportunity to try beers, to kind of expand their palate. And I think we can pull off this festival. So I had a relationship with a gentleman by the name of Charlie Burns at the convention center. I said, here's what I want to do. I don't know how well it's going to be received. But wine tastings and wine events are frequent, right? Oktoberfests are frequent. So we know that people want to celebrate alcohol and, beverage-based events. So I started to reach out, sat down with the ABC. At the time, the gentleman who was the attorney for council was Les Geiselman, fantastic freaking human being, and sat and had a plan. It's like, here's our plan. And didn't really think about the after effects of consumption for that first year. We figured everybody was going to feel good. So the first year of the Atlantic City Beer and Music Festival was 2006. Was that the year? Yeah, something like that.
Sounds about right.
And it was an all-day session. It was 2 all-day sessions. One on Friday, one on Saturday, and one on Sunday. One on Saturday, one on Sunday. And tickets were $25, and we had 28 breweries. And,
sounds about right for 2006. Yeah.
Yep. And Omegang, Climax. We go back. Flying Fish was there. I'm like really dig them up.
Sure.
And some of them aren't even breweries anymore, or have been purchased. And
Sure.
And it was interesting. Our first year we saw 3,000 people. And they were drinking all day. I mean, just go drinking all day, and got shit housed. And it was probably not the prettiest thing I've ever seen. But I knew that we had something. I was like, okay, people are really appreciating this. People are appreciating the opportunity to try things that, they didn't know existed. Because, 16 years ago, I mean, you didn't know there was no peanut butter fluff, it just wasn't a thing, right?
Peanut butter fluff Berliner Weiss was not a thing back in 2006.
This was the beginning of craft beer on a large scale component. So did the festival and kind of stepped back and said, okay, I've got to fix some things. One of the things we need to fix is we can't let people drink tiny little 2-ounce sessions for 6 hours straight. That's just not, we're going to be responsible for the destruction of so many livers. We can't do that.
And hotel rooms. Yep. Green spills all over the place. So we kind of stepped back and we saw 3,000 people. I said that, and rebuilt the festival and said, okay, well, let's session it out. What's an adequate time to try X amount of beers? What's the average in a 4-hour time span can people try? We tried it. We fumbled with the numbers, took off our shoes, counted with our toes, and realized that, okay, if we break it down into 4-hour components, it's manageable. Mm-hmm. Break it in. We take the Saturday and we break it in half. We, use that centerpiece as a reboot, clean up, and get stuff going. And then, we do the last one on Sunday. So year 2 hits. And at this point, we're at, I want to say 50 or 55 breweries. We're not quite at 60 breweries. And tickets go crazy. People have talked about it. Everybody had a blast. And we had some cheesy music and just stuff. But really, we're just dealing with vendors and walking around and drinking. And, it was a big hit. We'd sold, with all combined, we'd sold about 5,000 tickets. We were like, holy shit, we were onto something. So year 3 hits, and now we're starting to say, okay, now we're tweaking it. Now we're working with the product. We know the product works. We know that, better beer is starting to be a thing. We're expanding palettes, and, some people will attribute kind of the Atlantic City Beer Festival with the East Coast's kind of lift in craft beer. And maybe it's, I don't know, but it started to really have an impact on the restaurant industry. So the restaurant industry started to kind of poke their heads up and say, hey, what do we know about? What do we want to try? Hey, Chimay, hey, and now these beers kind of started to come to the surface, and good beers and good quality beers. And there was more of them, and breweries were producing 4 styles for the festival. And, we had some momentum. So the ABC calls and they said, we like the format. It's like, oh, that's awesome. I like the format too. You guys are kind of setting a standard, and we're starting to get phone calls about beer festivals in the United States. It's like, awesome. I said, well, we're changing it up again, and we're going into year 3. So we want to come, we want to observe, we want to talk about it. Awesome. Year 3 happens, and I've got the ABC in the building, and they're kind of looking now we're adding year 3 is, 60 some breweries. I've never actually chronologically gone back and told these stories. This is a first.
This is awesome.
This is fun.
Yep. So year 3 happens. 7,000 tickets. Really, really, the buzz was strong. And everybody shows up at once. And this is when we just check your ticket, go in, check your ticket, go in, check your ticket, before the whole holding pen thing. Okay. So we've got people wrapped from the gate all the way out the building, down the stairway, and outside, kind of wrapping around the building past the bus depot. Mm-hmm. And I got the ABC in there, and I was like, this looks like an absolute shit show. Like, these people aren't getting in there in time. Like, if I'm watching, as I'm trying to talk the ABC into should be the model, and here's why the model is, I'm combating a fucking dragon tail of a line coming at it, and I'm like, oh man, how do we fix this? So, BS with them. I was like, look, we've got some learnings on this control piece, but the alcohol piece we've got down pat. Cooking cooking demos and blah, 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 blah. So we get everybody in. We give away a bunch of tickets for year 4 because, there were some people who waited in that line for 2 hours, which by all means is unacceptable, right? We want everybody in and we want it in immediately. So we break down the festival. We say, okay, these people were left outside. That's not good for an experience. It's not good for, this brand we're developing, which at this point we see momentum. And we're starting to hear clamors of other festivals popping up. Cool. Year 4, we say, okay, we're going to do a holding pen. Let our attendees know. And this is back when we were advertising on MySpace. MySpace. My buddy Pete rocking that shit. So we did that holding pen. And that was a combination of my friend Larry Ross, Jerome Robinson, and a gentleman, Mike Campo, and I just sitting down and saying, okay, if we can get everybody wristbanded, ID'd, then wristbanded, and into a space and create a bit of pomp and circumstance to engage and get them excited about coming into the festival, that's what we'll do. And then we'll be able to pull the gates open and let them all in at once. And I was skeptical. I was like, all right, but they're all going to be there, and they're going to be in these holding pen, and they're going to be anxious and anxious and anxious and anxious and anxious. And it worked out perfectly. Year 4, we sold probably about 8,000 tickets. And, the bulk of people came early because we asked, please come early, please come early. We were probably close to 90 breweries at this point. Got them all in, played a little bit of music, and it wasn't a music festival yet. Played a little bit of music, pulled the gates, everybody flooded in. It's like, all right, we've got that control piece down. There's cooking demos. There's more cheesy bands. Then we started to add the little stuff. That's when Stripper Dunk Tank ended up at the festival. And, stuff like that. That was kind of, hey, there's more to do at these events than just drink, right? And that was kind of what we wanted to get past. We wanted to create this experience because we knew now we had something. Mm-hmm. We get through it. ABC calls us up again. Says, all right, so, we're going to write guidelines for beer festivals for the state of New Jersey. Awesome. How can we help? My first question was like, are we doing what you need us to do? Well, no, we're going to use the guidelines that you sent us as the guidelines for beer festivals in the state of New Jersey.
So you wrote the guidelines for the beer fest in the state of Jersey, essentially.
Yeah, with a little bit of tweaking.
Yeah.
And, that was awesome. So, now when people were, trying to figure out how to produce beer festivals, we would get a bunch of calls. Hey, how does this work? How does this work? And we'd helped out because, we knew we were a big festival in craft beer, and craft beer was still just sprouting out of the ground. It wasn't even a sliver of what it is today.
Sure. Of course not.
So year 5 comes by, and now we see these other beer festivals start to pop up. And I thought, all right, we've got to differentiate ourselves. We are kind of the OG, but how do we kind of stand out and do a little more and really create the celebration that we want it to be? We want to celebrate craft beer. We want to celebrate the people who make it. We want to celebrate all of it. Let's add music. Fuck, what kind of music? Polka? Do we add, what do we do?
Couple pop bands walking around.
Yeah. How do we make this the thing that we want it to do? And a friend of ours, who's out now, actually books the festival, Near Dark Entertainment. Jason's like, I think I can get Marky Ramone at Blitzkrieg. I was a giant punk rock guy, we put in, some other bands, but that one session we put Michael Graves, who sung for the Misfits for a minute, was his lead, and we put it out there. And, Brick Plus Mortar, a bunch of bands that had later turned out to be bigger bands, they all played, and it was fan-fucking-tastic. The music was like, wow, people got it. The old heads like myself who were into the punk rock and the Marky Ramone and the Ramone, they got into it, some of the other bands, and it drew in a group of, and we weren't a beer and music festival yet. We were still the Atlantic City Beer Festival. Year 6 hits, and at that point, I think we were probably 10,000 tickets, give or take. Year 6 hits. And I said, all right, there's a lot of beer festivals now. Mm-hmm. Mima has a fucking beer festival. Everybody's got a beer festival. Mm-hmm. We really need to take that jump. Let's take that leap. Let's spend the money. Let's make the investment. and make it a beer and music festival. And it was the first beer and music festival in the United States. And we got like, you can't see it, but there's a shot right above my desk of the Bouncing Souls and a crowd of probably what looks like probably 2,000 or 3,000 people.
Oh, sure.
First year we booked Reverend Horton Heat, Rusted Root, and the Bouncing Souls.
Yep.
Wow.
And that was it. We'd sold like 15 or 16,000 tickets. The Saturday, and then we transitioned to Friday. We moved it from. So I missed a piece of the story. I apologize. So between the Marquis Ramon and the Bouncing Souls year, we had met with a bunch of hospitality people with different properties, and we're trying to think of a way to, how do we increase economic impact, right? How do we make it a better event overall for Atlantic City, and so that the city itself can profit.
Sure.
And the beer scene was popping, man. It was really doing what it was doing. It was it was fantastic because just profiles were changing. Guys were starting to get really, really creative. And I thought, all right, well, if we can get people here on a Friday, Atlantic City's going to be hustling. Atlantic City's going to be booming. If we can convince more restaurants to carry craft beer, the consumer's going to stick around a lot longer, and we'll have kind of done our job in introducing people to better beer and then making better beer in our region readily available, right? Because that was important. It was not just to have craft beer, have a festival that shows up once a year and then 365 days later comes back, and it's like, no, we've got an investment in craft beer now. The festival at the time cost us like $1,000 to produce. And we thought, all right, we don't want people to come here and have this beer and then disappear, not have the opportunity to come to Atlantic City and drink better beer 365. So we started to work with the restaurants saying, hey, we're going to do, the restaurants, the hotels, we're going to do this, but we're going to implement a Friday so people spend the night and eat in your restaurants. But we need you to make the commitment to support us like we're supporting you and start carrying better beer. And it's funny that you've got the sign in the background. Brooklyn was one of the first. Garrett, he was a part of that. Sam, they came down and Sam did a beer dinner, a dogfish beer dinner at the steakhouse at Harrah's, and Garrett did something at Caesar's. So we started to really infuse craft beer into these restaurants. Mm-hmm. So that you would say year 6 shows up. Now we've got a city that's on board, with better beer, with restaurants and hotels, hotel bars. You're starting to get things like the crappiest thing you would drink wasn't Yingling at that point. Now it was like, okay, we're getting a little further down the rabbit hole.
Sure.
And we did the Friday, and it was, Friday night was the Bouncing Souls. Saturday day was Reverend Horton Heat. Saturday night was fucking Rusted Root hippie band, and
a little bit.
Everybody went fucking crazy, and the beer was flowing, everybody was smiling, and we knew that, all right, this is what the festival is for, kind of the existence of what it is. Like, if it lasts one more year, if it lasts 100 more years, it's a beer and music festival. It's a celebration. It's it's a celebration of the people who create beer. It's a celebration for us who drink beer. Now we're almost at 100 breweries, and it's the right breweries. We started to stick ABs in the corner, and just like, we know you're here, and
nobody sticks AB in the corner.
Right? Nobody.
What? Sorry,
nobody sticks AB in the corner.
That was good. But and listen, we can knock AB, we can knock Anheuser-Busch, we can knock Sam. I'll never knock Sam Adams. I'll never knock Sam.
Never.
But, they started the journey. These other breweries just made the journey better to travel, right? If you think about it. It's a better journey with craft beer.
Or at least they brought better snacks.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. So, from then it was just, all upwards, then it started to get to the point where, all right, our festival sells out annually at 27,000 people.
Sure.
It was like, holy shit, how did we do that? And then, the Atlantic City Beer and Music Festival is kind of that litmus test for any, hey, here's what we're doing. Every year it just got a little bigger, and we expanded, to the point where, we took over the entire convention center. We figured out the line, we figured out, feeding people. The one thing I was really proud of, and it was a hard sell in the beginning, was to highlight local culinary. I didn't want people to come and just eat shitty convention center food.
Right.
I thought, you know, some stale fucking hot dog or a pretzel somebody's going to chip their tooth on. That's not awesome.
No.
We convinced the convention center to take a back seat to local restaurants, and then convince the local restaurants to come sling stuff that's off their menu. Like, let's feed you indigenous Atlantic City food. So, you know, we're layering reasons to come back, pairing beers with foods. We're doing cooking demos. We're doing, you know, and just, excuse me, gassy as fuck. But we're doing all these things and really giving it this Atlantic City vibe, not knowing at the time that we were going to be kind of one of the second, third, you know, biggest, best festivals in the country. And it wasn't by design. It was A, to celebrate craft beer, which was important to us. And then it was just, okay, let's celebrate. And then it was like, let's gather, let's celebrate, and let's show people that Atlantic City is a tourism destination. And it has kind of the things that us as beer geeks really want to drink.
Sure.
And it just evolved from there. And then, you know, now we're on our 16th festival. Had 2020 not occurred, it would be our 17th festival. But, you know, we're on our 16th festival, and, you know, I'm very proud of, you know, what the festival's done for the market, what the festival's done for craft beer, you know, the opportunities that producing a festival like this has created for our company. So if you think about, we started with the Tattoo Expo, and then we went to the Beer Fest, and then we got to spin off the Seafood Fest, Average Joe Expo, Micro Wrestling, Witchcraft, the upcoming Physiology, you know, it's a bunch of them, the Cigar Social. So we just kept, you know, boom, boom. It helped us when we produced the Food Network Food and Wine Festival for Caesars. Like, all these things, it said, okay, you know, there's an opportunity here for lifestyle events, and it really opened that market. It pretty much stood out as kind of that opportunity or that leader in festivals for South Jersey. You know, dare I say, New Jersey.
Sure. It's definitely
yeah.
Oh yeah, no, it's definitely you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Landmark event, for lack of a better word. But, you know, and in fact, where would you put, because you're like you said, 27,000 is the max, you know, attendance per year. So where would you put it? Like, I mean, like the word on the street, basically, out there. I don't know if there's any metrics to it. And if there are, you know them, I'm sure, or you would know them. Obviously, GABF is the biggest.
It's us and GABF.
Yeah, GABF, and then
Atlantic City.
Atlantic City. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is that the right word? Matt just posted up iconic. Is that the word you're looking for?
What did he post?
Iconic.
Iconic. Yeah, iconic. Thanks, Matt. Okay, that'll work.
Yeah, you know, I try to kind of talk about it with a little bit of not so much hubris.
Just do some hubris. It's fine. You know, be hubristic.
Yeah.
The word hubristic. Hubristic.
Today it is.
Today's a word.
Yeah, but so yeah, I mean, and now, you know, we're going into this post-COVID. Is it post-COVID yet? Can I say that?
Not
quite. Semi-COVID.
Light at the end of the tunnel.
Right.
Is probably, you know, I mean,
sure.
We could just put a moniker on that, but yeah.
Yep. So
we might be past the seventh inning stretch.
I think we're past the seventh inning stretch. I think we're in the bottom of the eighth.
Listen, I believe that this thing is going to be with us for the rest of human existence, and just act accordingly at this point.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they've said that the last couple of days
Mm-hmm.
they've been saying that, you know, this isn't going anywhere, but we're just going to live with it. And it's going to be another cold.
We'll figure out how to deal with it.
Figure out how to deal with it as a cold, not as a killer.
Put some fat on it, it'll go away. Right.
Yeah. Exactly. Right.
Walk it off.
Yeah. Walk it off. Walk it off, pussies. Walk it off.
Walk it off. There you go.
So yeah. So now, you know, we're kind of rolling into 2020 was supposed to be, you know, a massive year for us. You know,
sure.
Look at Newfound Glory. I mean, it was a big band to get, right. It was Newfound Glory. It was Goldfinger. It was blah, 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 Against Me, and 164 breweries. And it was, I mean, I was excited, you know, new programming, you know, we were excited to, you know, bring this, you know, the festival to fruition. And 3 weeks before the festival happens, everything gets shut down.
Yep.
Pulls the plug. And, you know, like all of us were like, this is only going to be a couple weeks. We'll be over this. Yeah, we're going to, okay, let's move it to, what do we move to? Fuck it. Let's move it to August. We'll do it in August. You know, fucking June hit. It was like,
Well, it was supposed to be 2 weeks to flatten the curve, right?
Yeah,
that was what it's right.
Well, no one listened.
No, yeah. I openly was a poor listener, and I'll admit it.
Do you realize, though, seriously, if the entire, and this would have never been able to be coordinated, but do you realize, I mean, well, I didn't even realize, I mean, I'm just going to say it, but would this have even been possible if the entire world just stayed inside for 2 weeks, or even say 3 weeks? Would it have been gone?
No.
Like literally no human being outside of your house. So whoever had it was inside, and whoever didn't, stayed in, and then 3 weeks later, it's gone. That's my point.
There'd be less of us because so many starved to death because they didn't leave their house.
Well, yeah, but obviously you would have had to coordinate getting supplies for 3 weeks.
But now we've got didn't the states say it's unrestricted outdoor gatherings now?
So it's funny. So now
May 19th.
May 19th, yeah. So,
but social distancing is still a thing, though. Yes.
Yeah. So social distancing.
It's just quantity is the where they let up on, right?
Right.
And you can point a bunch of different directions. You can say it's election year. You can say a bunch of whatever, right? So when we decided, all right, April wasn't going to happen, let's move it to June, and worked with the mayor of Atlantic City to do Bader Field, and we're no stranger to doing events on Bader Field. I sat down with my team. It took a little over a month to build the floor plan that Spock's
blocking right now.
Yeah, Spock block.
Spock block.
Well, you also have it on the clipboard over your left shoulder there, right? Your other left shoulder.
You are a creepy fucker.
He is a creepy fucker. He's been a creepy fucker for years.
Your other
left.
All right, so now it's here too. No, so this one's inaccurate. This one is updated, right?
There we go.
So Stacy from my team and I essentially locked ourselves in the office and built this. Is it the right way up? Yeah. Built this thing. This massive floor plan is 1.3 million square feet.
Wow. A 1.3 million square foot beer fest. Think about that, folks.
And how many breweries are you sandwiching in there?
Right now we're at 127.
Nice.
127 breweries.
And I'll be honest with you, I thought we'd be somewhere near 100, right? When we built it, we thought about social distancing, right? We thought about how do we make it so that people who want to be away from people are away from people. How do we do it so that everybody's spread out? All the vendor tents now, previously booths, are 10 feet apart, right? And it spans the runways, and the whole loop is just shy of a mile, and I tell every girls who are going to say, I'm getting decked out and I'm wearing my nice shoes, fucking don't do that.
No.
Right? Because, you're going to get your steps in.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's an opportunity for them to get their steps in. Wear your Fitbits.
Exactly.
That's it. And
it's a healthy beer fest.
Yeah. So we had cut our capacities to, we were at typically 27,000 per session. We brought our capacity for the weekend, which is about 8,500 people per session. We brought it down to 5,000 people per session. So with 5,000 people per session and 1.23 million square feet, it allowed for, if people wanted to social distance, they could have 100 square feet to themselves. So think about, if you were uncomfortable being near people, if you're uncomfortable being near people, don't go to a fucking festival, right? Let's say that. I'm going to say that. If you're still uncomfortable about being around people, masked or unmasked, don't come to the festival, right? Because, listen, governor's orders that just came out. Now, we've been following these. We're right back, like Executive Order 234 pretty much opened the door for us. We knew we were getting there because, I stalked this stuff, and we've got people in places that, feed us enough information that, we knew that June was probably very viable, and that's why we kept trudging through and pushing. Executive Order 234 talked about the 25% capacity within stadiums and then 30% capacity around the stadium. And I believe that was created for tailgating and whatnot. Well, Bader Field is part of that 30%, right? Off of Sandcastle Stadium, which was, Bader Field's 142 acres. We used, at the time when I did the original floor plan, Dave was creepily stalking on my board. That floor plan was 1,000,001 square feet. It allowed us to say, okay, well, if we're at 30%, 30%, do all the math, take off our shoes, count our toes. We can do 9,000 people. Mm-hmm. That doesn't mean they're going to social distance, but we could do 9,000 people. And I struggled with it, right? I said, it's still, we still have a thing going on. Hogs get fed. Pigs get fed, hogs get slaughtered. So let's pull it down to 5,000 people. Now does the festival take severe lumps financially? Yes. But at least we're still pulling off a festival.
Sure.
Right. So we built the floor plan, and in the time we were, trying to get bands in the mix. We'd lost our initial bands. And I got a little heat on this on social media because I pushed back the announcements because bands just didn't want to confirm. They just was like, listen, we want to play, but we don't know what the temperature and the climate's going to be like, and we don't want to get called out by our fans. We don't want to be called irresponsible. And as much as that pissed me off, I kind of understood it, right? I was like, I want to say, you're being a wimp, but I get it. Nobody wants assholes on the internet, So we
can't avoid that.
You can't avoid it, but you can mitigate it, right? Mm-hmm. So we waited, and we probably announced 10 days after, we were initially supposed to, and the bands, they kind of jumped in and signed on. And, the breweries, I got to tell you, some of our brewery partners, they were in. There was no scaring them away. They were like, we're doing it. We're in. Let's drink beer. We want to spend time with people again. So that was exciting.
And they want to see if their keg fillers still work.
Right. Yeah, they got to clean that shit up, son. But it's funny. I saw Brian said wearing masks. So if you look at the in the comments, I'm reading the comments too.
He said, here he goes. Yeah, John said wearing masks would still be a thing. Then the CDC said outdoors they aren't required, especially if you're vaccinated. Will they still be required? So there's a question.
So it's a great question, right?
Sure.
So if you look at the recent executive orders that came out. A mask isn't required when you can social distance, right? When you can social distance. So if you're at a festival and in large crowds, and let's call it. I mean, we're going to sell out. We're 100% by the middle of this month going to be sold out.
Sure.
Right. There's already 12,000 tickets on the street. We're 80% sold out. If you're in a scenario where you can't social distance, we're going to ask you to wear your mask. That's the governing. That's the mandate, right? And I say, and this is important, and we're trying to kind of frame the messaging. Some of us are more comfortable than others without the masks, right? It doesn't mean we should forget that other people are uncomfortable, and we should at least,
absolutely,
we should at least, to an extent, make the effort to say, hey, okay, no, I get it, because it's a tool for us in the event industry, and I've got programs for the rest of the summer, and so do a bunch of my friends. I mean, we've been out of work for 14 months now. Right. Think about how many companies can sustain with zero revenue and very little help from the government. Right. So, and the entertainment industry has been completely just like, yeah, whatever, right. But this is a tool, your masks are a tool in our tool belt to allow us to get back to these things. Is it inconvenient? Yes. Will it mess up your fantastic mustache? Yes. But if you can't social distance, what's wrong with being courteous? Right.
But haven't they expanded or changed the terminology of social distancing? Because I believe part of that language was 6 feet apart, but 5 minutes of exposure within that 6 feet. Correct?
See, now that's a CDC thing. Now, if you
that's a CDC,
not
Jersey.
Yeah, no, it's not Jersey. It's 6 feet apart. Not no time for stopwatch. Yeah. And again, I mean, we're just going to ask our attendees to be courteous and think about, the mask wearing. If that gets us back to doing our job,
right?
Fuck it, let's wear masks, right? Sure. And what I'm excited about, and you guys,
exactly.
The festival itself, people go out of their way to dress up, to have fun, to do all this cool shit. I can't wait to see with the folks who are wearing their masks, what they do to their masks just to make it much more ingenious.
Exactly.
So I always, when folks are talking about masks outside, it's like, listen, it is what it is. Mm-hmm. We're gonna have we're gonna have a zero tolerance policy with people just being jerks about the mask thing. If you can go to your table, if you can go out to a section where you're social distance, take that fucking thing off, get some fresh air. But when you're waiting in line to get a beer, put it on.
Right. Have some fun with it. Make it a fashion statement.
And that's really, I mean, seriously. How many Vaders do you think we're going to see?
John?
Yes.
John, I finally did actually lose the Beer Samurai mask.
You did lose the Beer Samurai mask?
Yeah, I think it's on the streets of Stroudsburg somewhere.
There you go. There you go. I was considering actually ordering one the other week. Was just basically my face, so it would have been my my beard and everything, my mouth with a cigar coming out of it. That would have been perfect. There we go. And Matt Patensky says he wants a Jon Henderson facial hair mask.
His facial is just as good, if not better, than mine.
I don't understand why.
Gray pubes.
We'll let that go.
There you go. Go back to
low hanging fruit, bro.
Low hanging fruit, exactly. Well, we won't even talk about that.
Speaking of low hanging fruit, you should go to Brian's other comment.
Yeah, I'm going to mention that right here. Brian's comment before, he said his top 3 AC Beer Fest memories: Avery serving Uncle Jacobs with no line. Absolutely, I agree with you. Sharing a mustache ride with me.
Whose mustache was that? John, Mr. Henderson, was that your mustache tour?
What's that? Oh,
it was the seesaw mustache.
That was the deadliest thing in Beer Festival.
It's like one of those merry-go-rounds in the old school playgrounds.
Right. And it was not too long after I had my knee surgery, so I wasn't. It was an interesting seesaw event for me. Let's put it that way. And then the other.
Sorry about that.
No, go ahead. You're talking about the mustache.
The seesaw. So my wife, who's intimately involved in the festival, was calling me on the radio, frantic, yelling at me. I mean, she yells at me once in a while, but this was kind of different from usual. So I run. She's like, "I'm buying a teeter-totter." We have a teeter-totter? And Steve was up teeter-totter. I was like, the mustache is a fucking teeter-totter. I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. Go running over there to 20-somethings, catapulting their fucking chubby girlfriends 5 feet up in the air. Ding, boom, ding, boom, and laughing as these ladies hit the ground. What, like, my turn. And I'm like, somebody's going to get hurt. My wife's trying to stop them. And she's like, these fucking assholes. And I'm just like, we're hysterical laughing. These kids are flinging each other in the air off the catapult.
I have to concur with him. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, you saw people and you always had that asshole friend who got on one side, was like, "Are you good? You ready?" And then jumped off. Yep. So that mustache teeter-totter actually sits in a storage unit in one of our sea boxes of dumb shit we built for with giant octopuses and stuff. Or the Brian Boakes beards. I don't know if anybody remembered that.
Well, that's the other thing. Yeah, he said watching Eric Cohen obviously Nosefeel on the show, being thrown from the mechanical bull while wearing a Brian P. Boak beard. And
Brian P. Boak
beard. And Brian P. Boak said, the beards were great. Yeah.
That was, Brian had worked with, and he'll chime in here. Brian had worked with an ad agency, and he created these beards they would hold your place in line, so you could go run over to Boakes and get a beer. So if you were standing in Sierra Nevada or Flying Fish or whoever and said, "Hey, why don't you go get a Boakes? I'll stand here and hold your place in line." These people with beer did this for him. And I'm thinking, somebody's getting beat the fuck up. For sure. 100%. It was
great.
It was hilarious. But yeah, so here's a cool thing about the festival. And was it Brian just brought it up? You can tell the guys who know that are really into the beers and the people who are just there to kind of get a tie on by the guys kind of really walking through saying, all right, I'm strategic about this. I want to try the better beers. And to his point, Adam Avery was there and nobody realized it. Mm-hmm. There were these guys that were there and they were serving really great beers. Mm-hmm. And, you get these guys who would just walk up to a booth and go, give me the highest ABV thing you have. I was like, give those fuckers lemonade. Just move on. Like the missed beer opportunities at not just our festival, but any one of these beer festivals.
Sure, absolutely.
Is absurd. There's so much good beer, and people just make bad beer decisions when they have opportunity to try things that they're never ever going to do or try.
Right. It's crazy. And to Brian's point too, as soon as he found it first, as soon as he said that, I was at my booth. I ran right over there, and I stood there and BS with him for a while. I probably had about 4 or 5 Uncle Jacobs, which wasn't a good move, but it was so good.
Well, the year that Sam Adams did Utopias.
Yep.
We had the Utopias there. Mm-hmm. I have a bottle of it unopened. It's probably still just as terrible as the first fucking thing.
I
We
love
get
that.
in there, and guys are all, a handful of us knew what it was. And then there were other guys going, "Oh, what are you guys drinking?" And it's hot, "Oh, this is horrible." I didn't like it. It tastes like a porter or sherry. It didn't sit well with me. But
Yeah, to me, it's a whiskey.
but non-beer guys trying it.
It's like cognac. Yeah.
Yeah.
Non-beer guys trying it was weird. It was just like, what?
Hey, what is this? Yeah.
Yeah, Sam Adams
This is
buying
beer?
the
No,
batter.
it's not. Yeah.
Mhm.
Brian just said he had 50 volunteers to hold places in line for people that would swap out so nobody got pissed.
Mhm. Yeah, it was fun. I mean, it worked. It genuinely worked. His setup was massive, and those beers were everywhere. And it was every time I saw him, I just laughed. Because he called me, he's like,
They were everywhere. Everywhere. Yeah.
He called me, he's like, "Can I do this?" I was like, "I'm not going to get arrested." "Yeah, do your thing, man."
Yep. That was crazy. I got a couple other questions over here I wanted to get to you. You're doing Hops Trot this year, right?
Yeah, we're doing Hops Trot. That was so. My friend Steve Del Monte, who is Delmo Sports, him and I had we wanted. He saw these 1 mile races, these beer miles, and I was like, "That's stupid. Let's do a 5K and let's make people stop along the way and drink a beer or a tiny little beer."
Right.
And people loved it, man. I mean, in 19 we had almost 1,000 runners. This year I think we've got, as of right now, 400 and some runners. There it is.
Well, they started running, but by the end of it, they were staggering a little.
Because it's not enough beer.
It's not enough. You're smaller. Every
yeah, it's we had to show some
like
form
5
of,
or 6 stops, and you're drinking 2 ounces of beer.
and they're not high ABV.
No, yeah.
Purposely, because you start at 10 o'clock in the morning, and then you still have a festival to kind of tour as well.
Mhm.
But we had guys who were marathon runners. And I said, "Hey, first people in the festival, you're the first people drinking." And my VIPs got pissed. I'm like, "This motherfucker runs a 1 minute mile. No wonder he's here already."
Me first.
Yeah, and the dude, and he did it in a hot dog costume.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. That is great. But that's a good thing every year. And I'm glad you're getting that done this year. Now, how is that going to work though? How the beer stop's going to be, because they were inside bars.
They're still going to. So instead of it kind of turning and going down into the convention center, we're going to go from Ocean all the way down, turn onto Albany Avenue. The breweries are going to be along the way, like the Ducktown, where he set up at Kennedy Plaza, Harry's.
Right.
So there's still kind of the same stops, except now you've got 2 beer options at each stop.
Mm-hmm.
And then into
You get a choice. There you go. Look at that.
Yep. And then what'll happen is, nobody's seen this. You guys are the first people to see this.
Look at that.
Awesome.
So they'll run straight down here. So here's kind of that original holding pen area.
Yep.
Right. And then they'll run straight down to the side of that into the festival celebration and then kind of break out. But if you look at like some of the things people are used to in the festival, so here's kind of the holding area, runway, this, so laser tag is right here. Over here this is all jacked up. So this way, all the amenities that you're used to, kind of the giant cornhole, shit like that, cooking demos, the stages up here, this whole grassy section. So yeah, it's a monolith to say the least.
That's for sure. Now that's where that is now. That's not too far away from Iron Bar and Vagabond and
so Iron Room.
That's
Iron Bar is different.
Iron Bar's
Iron Room's on
Iron Room.
Tennessee Avenue now.
Are they moved?
That right. Like you walk out, I expect that Wonder Bar and Vagabond are going to be packed.
Yeah. That would be a figure. Are they involved in Hops Trot too, or everything's still over on Ocean?
Now you're going to come down the boardwalk, all the way down the boardwalk from Ocean onto Albany Avenue, and then into the festival.
And just straight to the festival. Gotcha. So you'll be done with beer at
more
that
of a
point.
straight run. Yeah,
that's cool.
Cool. And we don't fuck up traffic as much as we did in the other ones because we halted traffic. At one point, ambulance had to get in because our run down into the convention center was by the hospital, and we've got runners with beer cups in their hand running past fucking people dying. And I was like, it's convenient. I was like, if somebody goes down, just drag them into the hospital lobby and keep it going.
Right there, done, easy.
Yep.
So that's funny.
That was a fun addition. That was a really fun addition. Was adding that Hops Trot.
Yeah, it's really cool every year. It really is. Do you see this? Let's talk about what everything you've done for this year, what you obviously, started, obviously had plenty of time to adjust and readjust and everything else. Do you see this going back to somewhat what it normally is next year, or do you see it kind of maybe staying something like this?
I don't know. I like, see that? It's kind of
It's like let me think about this.
Cleansing breath.
After doing something for 15 years in the same space, right?
Right.
The ability to change it and kind of do something different is exciting, right?
Sure.
I mean, how many beer fests have you been to? Like, how many of the Atlantic City? There's guys who've been to all of them, right?
Everyone.
If I can change that experience up for a few people, that's awesome, right?
Sure.
It's not, I want to say it's going to be the same festival, but it's not, because we're outside.
Right.
I'm excited to see what this year brings. I normally would have had my deals for 22, 23 already done for the festival, and I'm holding off to see what this experience is like. Because if it's a positive experience, an outdoor festival is always a better festival.
Sure. Yeah.
But then, we've got to look at, are we moving our time frame? Are we going to stay? We can't go in March or April, so
you can't do it. Yeah, you can't do it then when you normally do. Yeah.
And then we got to look at what other festivals could we possibly displace. Because fair business practices that we believe are, what keeps our industry thriving.
Well, one beautiful thing about having it outside, you've got a softer place for Scott Wells to pass out.
This is true. This is very true.
Under tables always worked out great for Scott.
Right.
Yeah,
well,
but
now we can find some grass under the table now.
Right.
So.
This is true. This is true.
And in the event, well, I mean, obviously you're going to see what it brings. If it works out and it becomes viable, and then you can increase it right next year. I mean, with a little luck, obviously, you can go up to that 9,000 number per.
I'm not worried about it by 2022.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm curious to see. I'm fearful of. I like a crowd. I like people together. I like to see that kind of sea of people run through, high fiving people, because I talk to our consumer. Like, if somebody's at the show, I just randomly talk to strangers. They don't know that I'm the guy that does.
He does. Festival. He really does.
I do. I randomly walk through the festival and just talk to people, just because I want to get kind of that. How's your experience? Are you having a good time? And there's no better way than the guy who spends 365 days kind of figuring it out to talk to the people who are experiencing it, right? Because I'm only looking at it from one kind of vantage point.
Sure.
I'm curious to see what, with so much space, because typically the festival is just shy of 500,000 square feet in the convention center. Now we're 1.4 million square feet. What does it look like with 5,000 people on it? Like, it's,
right.
I mean, that's like, all right, well, there's way too much social distance now.
Yeah, it's going to look different. It's going to look different.
And it's going to be different. All right. So, and you always want to manage expectations, we're coming out of this pandemic. This is the first big event in New Jersey. Right. There's been, I think the Phillies are playing tonight. They've got 10,000 people in their stands, but this is the first big festival and event to happen. So do I think we're going to be under a microscope? Probably a little bit. But with the size of space, the space we have, I mean, just so much room for activities.
Yeah, it really is. Well, I mean, I hope it, it sounds like it's going to go off without a hitch, obviously. Let's keep our fingers crossed for that. But as far as going forward, though, hey, you know what? See what pans out this year, and then you make your decision. Maybe you wind up doing two, John. Maybe you wind up doing no.
No.
Just no.
So we launched in 2019 that Halloween event, Witchcraft,
right,
which was at Mystical Encounters and Brews and Spirits. So imagine a haunted attraction that you go to with your friends, and there are 70 breweries and distilleries that you can taste while you're doing it. And that's what we created. And it was a hit. I had people coming up to me saying, "This is better than Beer Fest." You can't find their bodies now, but they
and they were in costumes, so
and they were, exactly.
No one could identify them anyway.
That's it. So that worked. Then
how convenient.
Exactly. I got a couple other random rapid fire questions, if you will. But let's open our second beer, because I finished this peanut butter beer.
I'm nursing this because I did ride my motorcycle to work.
You got that. My second beer is Paradise in the Pines. It's my cap I'm wearing from Pinelands Brewing. They'll be at the Beer Fest as well.
Oh, Pinelands, Mike, Jason, all those guys.
Yeah. Spoke with Mike last week. I'm pouring it. And I'm pouring it in the Hops Trot 2018 glass.
There you go.
I just showed you. There you go.
Represent.
Absolutely. Had to pour it in this one. So, it's a great run every year. So, Samurai, what are you drinking?
As expected, I'm been seduced over to the dark side.
Imagine that.
And we're going to go. I'm going to go with a beer that was actually mentioned earlier in an early show, the show with the man who brews this.
Yep, Jason was on. Yep.
Icarus Brewing's King Arthur Steed was mentioned a couple times. One, we were talking about favorite adjuncts at one point, and coconut being one of my favorites. Mm-hmm. This is
coconut in here too.
I just had a sour from Icarus, and I forget what it was called, and it was out of this world.
Coconut cream. So I'm pouring it into my Stormtrooper glass. But it was also mentioned as one of my favorite names for beers. If you remember, my New Jersey favorite name was King Arthur Steed. Because being coconut in it, it is a on concourse. It is a Monty Python and the Holy Grail reference.
Sure. So you got a triple nod in that drinking that beer.
Nod.
There you go. How was it?
It doesn't suck.
The coconut. There you go. The coconut's a little bit up. Wait, I got to turn this glass around. Sorry.
Yeah,
the coconut's a little bit different in this glass, in this beer, but it's tasty. So, cheers with this one.
Cheers.
Mm-hmm. All right. Couple of questions, Sean. I got to ask you, and something that I know is on everybody's mind, more than anything else, probably.
So, did you see Brian Boak's drinking Monster Mash off the tap right now?
Is that what he said on the comment?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, Brian, I love you, but you suck.
We still have not stormed his place yet.
When are you inviting Dave and I up to drink that rest of that one and one more Sixtel?
I remember those. Oh, I remember those.
Just let us know.
Or better yet, do you have a blunderbore?
There you go. You can make one into a blunderbore, right? All right. So my question to you, I should probably take that one off. And there we go, so we can see everybody. There we go. Okay, here we go. What's your favorite cigar?
Liga Bravada number 9.
Look at that. See? Right off the bat.
So we were going to make that our top threes, but
it's going to be a top three. But
I'm such a cigar novice. It's ridiculous. I probably would have had a few faces pulled when I brought up the Macanudo.
Yeah, I would have made funny.
I know you would have.
I'm a cigar snob. I am 100% a cigar snob.
What's your go-to, for lack of a better term, I'll just use it as what it means, lawnmower cigar.
Lawnmower cigar?
Mm-hmm.
Wow,
cigar or a beer?
Cigar. Oh. So Perdomo makes a Cristal that's pretty fantastic. It's a light, so I can smoke 2 or 3 of them at a clip.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a decent lawnmower beer.
Cigar.
I'm sorry.
See, I said it the same way.
It's the Jedi mind trick.
Exactly.
Right. I've really been smoking a lot of, when I'm outside working, I've got a little farm thing going on. So when I'm out there, working with the pigs or getting Carol's eggs for the chickens, I've been smoking a lot of the Long Live the King.
Yes.
That's a fantastic smoke. And it's a boutique cigar, which is Caldwell Cigar Company.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to talk cigars, so it's something new I had a hard time getting past the name and smoking the cigar, but Plasencia just came out with a new line. Because I'm like, you know exactly where I was going.
First time I saw it, I said the same thing. I know.
Everybody was like, oh, you got to try the Plasencia. I was like, no. Nope.
I've
seen them. I don't want to try them. No, I'm good.
So maybe that was the Bush lyric. Maybe her placenta didn't hit the floors. Her placentia. Her cigar fell out of her mouth. That's it.
Yeah. Yep. There's a lot of great boutiques coming out. Like My Father, the Judge. I don't know if it's rich. It's bold.
I haven't had it. I haven't had the pleasure yet.
That's a winner. We could talk. That's a whole different show, bro.
Yeah, John, you went blue there again for a second.
Yeah, I know. It went off and on. This camera's a little weird. I think it's just when the light goes down outside a little bit more, it pops up a little bit differently. But anyway, we'll have a cigar show. I think we'll do a cigar podcast at some point too. So,
awesome.
And we got to get Dave up to snuff too.
Not
snuff cigars.
No. I remember I stopped smoking.
You did. Well, there's my Marion Bluey, and there we go.
Cigars different than cigarette smoke.
Yeah.
No. I stopped
smoking cigars.
I never smoked cigarettes.
Okay. I've never smoked a cigarette. Smoked a fucking ton of weed, but I've never smoked a cigarette.
I've
Yeah, you're stuck with the blue stop.
yeah, it's there. It'll go away. It'll come back. Whatever. Anyway, So I'm ready for that cigar podcast. And I want to try. What was the one you mentioned that I said I didn't have? The
My Father Judge.
My Father Judge. I got to try that. I'll have to find it.
Yeah, cigar.
And Brian said he's never smoked a cigarette or a cigar. You've had secondhand cigar smoke because I've smoked a bunch of them in front of you, Brian. So, in any event, all right. Next, what's the favorite beer you've ever had at one of your beer fests?
I can't. It's impossible.
It's impossible.
It's
something that pops into mind. Okay. Maybe it's not your favorite, but something that's stuck in your mind from one year or another.
I I got a bunch of them racing through, and a lot of them come down to some of it with experience with
Oh, sure, it's all experience. It's not just necessarily the best. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got nothing. I mean, because I don't drink anything, but I'll try anything if that makes sense.
Yep.
And there's been a lot of beers that I've had. This is weird. I don't drink during the festival. If I
You're
start,
working.
I've
brought him beer over and he said no, thank you. That's happened before.
Because there was one year, and Bob Olson's partially to blame.
Well,
that's a common story.
And I don't know if it was Fruity Pebble. It was one of the weird beers they did, and
one of them.
One of the weird, and
that narrows it down.
Yeah, really.
But no, it was the beginning of real weird beers for them. And tried, and I was like, oh, this is great, and then tried it. And then Jason from Cyprus is like, oh, if you like this, try this. And then next thing you know, I was like, I got a whole nother session to go. What the fuck? And that was the validation that no, I don't drink at my festivals. But my personal beer collection is
pretty intense.
It's impressive.
Gotcha. Nice.
And so that's one of the things, starting this thing off as a beer geek.
Mm-hmm.
I've been fortunate to get, stuff that's not normally released. Like guys are like, hey, I'm working on this. I'm thinking about doing this for the festival, and we're doing a collab. I've been fortunate. Fortunate is probably an understatement. When other breweries are doing collabs, especially near us, I get calls. Hey, why don't you come hang out with this? Try this. I was at 3-3's the other day with Abomination, the guys from Abomination. And they brought some stuff, and it was like, geez, wow. So I've been fortunate. I mean, I've drank a lot of good beers. The downside is I've forgotten the names of some of the better beers that I've drank over the years. And you guys are probably in the same boat. I think everybody who's listening is in the same boat.
Yeah, if I didn't take the time to put it in Untapped, it's gone. I forgot what it was. So.
I don't even use the app. I tried for a minute, and then I was just like, and then I started to read the comments, and I was like, ugh.
Yeah, they can get at it
on my phone.
Well, you can't do that too, because that's the one thing that I dislike about Untapped is that if there's somebody that doesn't like for instance, if there's somebody that doesn't like a particular style of beer and they taste that particular style of beer and they put it down, it lowers, and then they rate it too. It lowers the rating. It makes people read that comment and say, "Oh, okay, I'm not gonna have that. That tastes like this.
Right.
It's bad." No, they just don't like that beer. If you don't like the beer, don't rate it. Just check into it and let it go.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Just responsible user. That's an unresponsible user.
Exactly.
But to John's point earlier, I got Untapped so that I could keep track of what I've drank and what I haven't.
Mm-hmm.
But I've drank so much that I'm still out there buying stuff, getting home, go to check in on Untapped. I'm like, I had this.
Yep.
Damn it.
Right.
And I didn't really like it.
I do it with beer. I do it with cigars. Yeah. In college, I tried to do it with girls.
Oh, I had this one already.
Yeah.
I remember not liking that one.
I am not going to get laid for a month once my wife listens to this on the podcast.
Yeah, this is here you go. This Matt just said it. This is the best stout I ever had, and I don't like stouts. 1 star.
Yeah.
1 star because I don't like stouts, but it's the best one they ever had.
I just think the app is.
It's you got to take it like you got to look at it like you look at Yelp. You know, like you look at Yelp, half the comments are great, half the comments suck. You know what? Just divide in between all of them and figure out yourself. I mean, if you go look at something on Yelp and every single comment is sucks and it's got a 0.5 star, then you kind of know that the place sucks, right?
Well,
it's the same kind of thing. If it's in the middle, you gotta form your own opinion. I'll try anything. I'm not going to let anybody else sway me from trying something.
You got to look at the curve.
Right.
I ignore the ones because that's usually the competition. I ignore the 5s because that's usually their family and friends. So I look at that 2.5 to 3.5 range.
Right.
You're going to get more of your honest reviews in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm a comment leaver by just, because I like to praise things that need to be praised and I like to shit on things that need to be shit on.
Sure.
So my Yelp profile is fantastic, but very few of your listeners will ever be able to access my browser's comment section. I had a tendency, I may have a tendency to smoke a little pot and then leave reviews on all the porns for that week. So much so that the dude who actually at the time owned browsers thought they were so funny, he gave my subscription to me for an extra 2 years for free.
I gotta love it.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. That's great.
No, John knows that I will leave reviews. He turned me on to a new Facebook group, and I said something. It wasn't even shitting on them, and I got backlash.
Oh yeah.
You saw that, right?
I saw it. It just jumped on you.
Man,
But,
it's like
hey.
it was honest.
But it wasn't bad. You were just leaving an honest review, and you didn't say anything bad about it. You just said it was good, but hey, whatever.
It didn't match the hype.
Yeah, exactly. But in any event, we'll leave that on that one. And one other for you. What's your favorite beer fest that you've organized? Beer fest. Your favorite festival that you've organized other than Atlantic City Beer Music Festival? What's your favorite one to do other than the beer one?
Who's your favorite child?
That's literally what it is.
That's what it is. It's what it is. That's why I'm asking it.
Your question. That's an easier question. I got 4 kids. It goes back.
Wait a second. Your favorite child has to be your child,
right?
One of yours. It has to be one of yours. Apparently, that's the rule. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I read that on the internet. I really enjoy our seafood festival, right?
Yeah.
Probably because it's the least stressful out of all of our programs.
Well, there you go.
And you can partake in it.
Because I can partake in it.
There you go.
But
There's
we
a
do
but.
High Knuckle Buster Micro Wrestling, which is a midget wrestling event. We've been doing it for 5 years. It is a fucking blast.
That's great.
We do hot dog eating contest. We do, we bring in somebody to be a guest ref. We've brought in WWE stars to be a part of it. We take the parking lot of the Ducktown Tavern, which is in Ducktown in Atlantic City, and we put a micro wrestling ring in the middle. We surround it with lights like it's the WD, and we make it an absolute spectacle. It is a blast. So we put that on sale on April Fool's Day, and all of my VIP front row seats gone. Like that. I'm not shocked, but I'm kind of shocked. That is selling like crazy. People love that event.
And when is that one?
That is July 24th.
Gotcha.
But if you want to laugh your ass off, that is an opportunity to just really bring some friends over and vibe and just have a great time. You got these little fuckers fighting, and it was like we tried to do it last year. I was like, we can still get away. They only need to be 3 feet apart. Yeah.
That's not how that works. That's not how any of this works. No.
But it was, Yeah.
That's great. I love it. Oh my God.
Don't write letters. Don't write letters.
Exactly.
That's right.
No, please don't.
I got an email from a woman who had said, this event is disgusting. You're profiting
exploiting.
You're profiting off of these people with a disability. I said, lady, I was like, A, I pay them so I know what they make, right? And B, if my kid had a challenge like being a little person and could use it to their advantage, I'd be that parent up in the first row with the giant foam fucking finger. You're number one, kick his ass, and I would be applauding and cheering.
Sure,
so,
absolutely.
Suck a dick, lady.
On that note, I actually have to do this because I saw this before. Somebody posted this on Instagram just before the show, and I actually asked her. She's Aline is her name. She lives in. She's a craft beer, younger craft beer person or whatever. A craft girl on Instagram. She's in Arizona. She said, and it was a video. She said, if you call yourself a craft beer enthusiast and then call pilsners and lagers from craft breweries piss beer, shove your dick in the garbage disposal. So,
Okay.
There you go. So
I'm just trying to figure out how I climb up on the sink.
and how deep is your sink too?
And reach in, yeah.
How far down is the garbage disposal go?
Yeah, right, exactly.
My home brisk.
For a lot of people, it's got to be a shallow sink.
Yeah, and then Brian just said, "Ouch." Sorry. There you go. But I thought that was funny when I said it. But anyway, when she said it. All right. Hey, one quick brewery news or industry news, if you will.
We haven't done this in a while.
Yeah, well, it has to be because it came out yesterday, and I know you've both seen it. Governor Murphy, shot in a beer initiative. You see it?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Governor Murphy announced yesterday, shot in a beer initiative.
And I'm already vaccinated. Damn it!
If you get a shot, if you get your shot in May, bring your card to any of these breweries. It's Battle River and Tom's River, Bradley Brew Project in Bradley Beach, Bolero Snort in Carlstadt, Brick City in Little Ferry, Carton Brewing.
Did they spell bricks right?
They spelt bricks correctly.
Oh, yeah,
yes, they did.
Right.
Matt did not make this graphic. Carton Brewing in the Atlantic Highlands, Flounder in Hillsborough, Flying Fish in Somerdale, Gaslight in South Orange, Hackensack Brewing in, obviously, Hackensack, Kane in Ocean, Little Dog in Neptune, Magnify in Fairfield, and River Horse in Ewing. If you bring your card to them, you get a complimentary beer.
I don't believe it's just those breweries. I think a lot of breweries are actually doing it. It's not.
I think more popped on, but this was the initial round. Those breweries were the initial round. There's probably a lot more that jumped onto it, but those were the initial ones that were announced yesterday. Obviously, just check the New Jersey website because it's all on there. They actually went to the ABC and got that pass because you can't get a free beer at a brewery.
Well, you can't entice people with one.
You can't entice people with a free beer, exactly. But they got that passed for this particular thing. We had a couple comments. Maybe somebody knows who else is involved. Oh, no.
No.
Now, Brian just said, no bourbon, but a shot and a beer. And then Brian said, double ouch to Matt Potensky. Not quite sure what that means.
We were making fun of him, the spelling of Brick City.
Oh, there you go. Double ouch. There you go. I thought it was some referring to the garbage disposal again.
Yeah. I'm like, does he know something we don't know?
Exactly. But anyway, yeah. So
Brian is at his place quite a bit, so.
This is true. But, yeah, so that's a good thing. If you haven't gotten your vaccine, if you go and get your first shot in May, you bring your card to one of those breweries or any of the others that have jumped on, and you get a complimentary beer. So
that's what you were holding out for, John?
Finally, it's here, so I'm going. Right, it's jumping on that.
I went a little too soon, I guess.
There you go. See, you weren't thinking. Patience, young grasshopper.
How many guys are getting their shot, getting that Bill and Melinda Gates juice pumping through their veins, right?
And the 5G chip,
and then just bar hopping for free all day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Right, because I don't think it's a punch card on your vaccination thing.
Right,
yeah,
so
they just go around.
Dude, I want to save a couple bucks on some beers. Let's go get a vax real quick. Let's pop some of that Johnson & Johnson action, and then just hit some breweries.
No, I wonder though if you get like the Moderna, there's 2 shots.
Right.
Oh, you're getting so drunk.
Yeah, there's one in May. Yeah, and if you start off the 1st of May, and then because
you got to do it. Yeah, you got to go get it today, and then have it scheduled by the end of May. But I don't think. Yeah, because they're not.
You get for each shot.
I don't know.
Yes, right.
Why not? You got to get a shot in May, right? So
yeah,
you got your card. So I don't think they're keeping track of it. I don't think it's like a Groupon or something where they scan your barcode and
right.
You've already had your beer earlier in the month. Sorry, you can't have another one. So yeah, that's an interesting point. That is true. But,
and if you like one brewery, just slap a mustache on. Everything's different.
There you go. Brian knows. Our producer has told us it's only the first shot. Only the first shot. Brian Boak too. He says only the first shot. There you go.
A lot of Brian's going on here.
Yeah, the Bryans know.
Oh, so they figure, all right, you're already pot committed. You got the first shot. Now you got to go get the second shot. So
now you have to go get the second shot because you went and got it. Right? So. But in any event, so at least there's that. There's something there. So anyway, that was the latest news yesterday. If you haven't heard, there you go. So anyway, all right. Hey, we're an hour and 20 minutes into the show. Should we do our top 3s?
I think we should.
I think we should do our top 3s. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't heard, if you didn't read all the way down in the post, our top 3s tonight is top 3 Star Wars characters that we'd want to have a beer with. Is that correct grammar?
You can
The top 3 Star Wars characters with whom we'd want to have a beer. Right?
We'd share a beer with.
Share a beer with. There you go. That would work too. All right, so
none of us are English teachers, so
none of us are. Yeah,
no, you just can't. You're not supposed to. You're not supposed
can't
to
end with a
end sentence.
preposition.
You can't end with a preposition.
Can't end with a preposition. That's what I said. So, all right. So, in any event, for this show, grammatically correct doesn't matter. So, you get the idea. So, top 3 Star Wars characters we want to drink a beer with.
And we're also not allowed to do math on the show.
And we can't do math. That's all for Brian and Matt. They take care of that. So
that was like episode 6, I think we made
something
that
like
rule.
that. We made that rule. Yeah, definitely. All right. So, why don't we let our guest Jon Henderson go first with his top 3?
Do I have to go first, second, third, or is just 3 guys?
However you
want. We normally go 3, 2, 1. We normally do.
But you
can do whatever you want to do.
If you've got them tiered.
You sent this to me. I'm like, oh, how deep we going? I'm going to keep it user friendly, right?
There you go.
Number 3 is going to be Qui-Gon Jinn.
Okay.
Qui-Gon.
Yeah, number 3 is going to be Qui-Gon Jinn.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2 would probably be.
Well, before you move on, why Qui-Gon?
Why Qui-Gon? There you go.
I think Qui-Gon is he's a Yoda Padawan, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And Obi-Wan is arguably one of the most notable Jedis that exist, right under Darth Vader.
Sure.
So he trained Obi-Wan. I think there's a little bit of lineage there. He's going to teach me how to move my can across the fucking bar.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
That's a good reason.
That's a great reason. There you go. I like that.
Questionable, and I don't want to, you can't not. And you guys are going to have something different, or maybe not. But number 2 is Darth Vader. I mean, you can't not.
How's he going to get it past the
straw?
I was going to say straw. Absolutely.
Yeah, Darth Vader, because fucking Darth Vader.
You know what? It would. How interesting would it be?
Just think about that when that inhale, right? That noise from the inhale. Yeah, exactly. It's like...
But imagine getting Vader drunk.
No, everybody fucking died. Yeah. And then number 1, Admiral Akbar.
Okay.
He's got one of the greatest lines in Star Wars history.
It's a trap.
Thank you for playing, Admiral Akbar.
All right. Dave, you want to go next?
I shall go next.
Go next.
I will start with number 3.
We didn't know yours, John. Just say we weren't aware of yours, but I actually have pictures and props for
ours.
For ours. So there
you guys are such fucking nerds.
Oh yeah.
Well, no, I wasn't going to. I just want to point out the fact that I'm not as big a nerd as that gentleman right there is.
No.
He
no one
sent
is.
me his pictures. He
I
totally owns this.
Well, because not everyone is going to know who number 2 is, but number 3, and I've got reasons for all 3 of these.
Go for him.
Jack Porkins.
Right there.
So there's Porkins. And the reason is I want to see if I can outdrink this motherfucker. Look at this guy.
I don't think you can. I think it's going to be close because of knowing but
he's going to drink any IPAs all the time. Look at the beard. Right?
Sure.
So that's my number 3.
Yeah.
Number 2 is Maz Kanata.
Mm-hmm.
There she is. Because she's a bartender. She's going to introduce me to alcohols and drinks and cocktails that I've never had before. And there's going to be some experiences going on there. And she knows shit.
Right. I'm sure she does.
Factual statement.
There you go.
Number 1,
mm-hmm.
probably my favorite character of the original series because he is the only minor character that survives all 3 of them. Mm-hmm. That would be Wedge Antilles.
Nope. Right
that's check again.
No. My mouse jumped.
And the reason I've got both the pictures up there is because the one picture on the right, that's the young Wedge. That's the Wedge that said, when you look at the size of that thing. But the one on the left, by the time he gets to this age, he has seen some shit. So you're going to sit down with a fighter pilot over some beers, and you're going to hear some stories. You are going to hear some. And one thing was pointed out at one point. Wedge Antilles is the only X-Wing pilot that can silhouette 2 Death Stars on his X-Wing.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Only one.
You're right. He is. All right. Very good.
That's officially nerded out on that one.
That's totally officially nerded out. So I got a couple other directions that I went in, but I'm gonna do mine now. So my number 3 is, of course, Han Solo, right there. Okay. He's gonna take me to every. He's my if you know Friends. The show Friends or whatever, when they're waiting for their friend Gandalf to come in because he's the party wizard or whatever. Han Solo's my Gandalf. He's going to take me to every great craft beer bar in the galaxy, in the universe.
And he'll get you there in less than 12 parsecs.
And he'll get me less than 12 parsecs, exactly. So, My number 2 is going to be Mace Windu.
Because he's a badass motherfucker.
He's a badass motherfucker, and the more he drinks, I'm probably going to get a few motherfuckers out of him, and he might turn into Jules Winfield. So,
That's a tasty burger.
And you ain't gonna let no motherfucking snakes on your motherfucking plane.
Exactly. Exactly.
You do know that the actors that play the Jedis, they are gifted the prop hilts, right? Samuel L. Jackson's prop hilt that they gave him, they actually engraved BAMF on the hilt.
Really? That's great.
And Brian Altschul, yes, we know it's Brian Altschul apparently did not see
Solo.
Solo.
Measured distance, not a time. He did not see Solo.
He did not see Solo where they actually explained it, that he's actually not talking about distance. He is talking about distance, not time, when he makes that boast.
Mm-hmm.
So go watch Solo and then come back to us.
Exactly.
And I like Patensky. Patensky being, you got to throw up Patensky's comment.
All right, so we'll do that. Here we go. It's a Trappist.
He's such a Belgian beer nerd.
He really is.
And a Star Wars nerd.
And Brian just said, of course he saw Solo. Then why'd you make that comment?
Yeah, exactly.
There you go. All right,
and your number one, John.
My number 1, of course, is the most badass motherfucker in the entire universe.
According to Samuel L. Jackson.
According to Samuel L. Jackson, Mr. Yoda. And think of the knowledge that I would get from the most biggest badass in the universe.
Just the hangover cures from Yoda would be fantastic.
Oh,
absolutely.
Yeah, right?
Absolutely. And he'll know what to do. And he could probably get rid of my hangover by just going like that.
Cure, I would get.
Gotta love it. All right.
Hydrate you must.
Hydrate you must. Exactly. Oh, that's great. Anyway, so yeah, there you go. Those are my 3. So.
See, I figured. So Matt's number 1 is. I thought someone would go there because he is one of the biggest drinkers in the galaxy.
This is true. Yeah, he is. Matt Patensky's number 1 is Lando.
But the thing is, you should be drinking Colt 45 the whole time.
That's exactly right. Billy D. Williams is going to drink Colt 45. I'm sorry, that's nothing else he's going to drink there.
So I don't know. I don't know about that, Matt.
So I don't know. I'm a pinball geek. I play pinball. Sure. Stern is releasing on, I believe it's May 11th, The Mandalorian. So they've got 3 other Star Wars games that exist, pinball games from Stern, and The Mandalorian is the new release.
Nice.
Interesting.
This is the way.
May 11th.
May 11th, yeah.
So next week, yeah. That's great.
Now Brian did put up his top 3.
Yeah, I'll put them up. There you go. You read them off.
Shao Moon.
Mm-hmm.
Han, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And the band playing the Cantina theme in Mos Eisley. So he went with Figure and Dan and the Modal Nodes.
Figure and Dan and the Modal Nodes.
That is the name of the band in the Cantina.
I know. Actually, I do know that, but I was going to say only you would know that. Unfortunately, I actually
but you know it too.
Gotta love it. Anyway.
But why not the band in Jabba's Palace?
The band in Jabba's Palace was actually interesting too.
It had
the lip. With the yes.
Yeah. Well, that's Cy Snoodles, the one with the lips.
Yep.
And that's oh shit! I always knew this. The blue. It's named after the blue guy. The Max Rebo band.
Mm-hmm. The Max Rebo band. Geez, I don't know. I said to Dave earlier, John. I said, I don't know, baseball wise. I was looking at another comment from Brian there. On the Blue Jays is Bo Bichette, Dante Bichette's son, right? And anytime somebody on the sports podcast that we do brings up Bo Bichette, I was like, Boba Fett's on the Blue Jays. Yeah.
Boba Fett was going to hit my list, but it was just so clearly obvious. I mean, I didn't want to leave Darth Vader out, and I didn't know how deep the rabbit hole we were going.
You were going to go down. Well,
I didn't realize. If I would have known Dave's, I would have been like, all right, here we go.
I restrained myself.
When he said Porkins to me, I was like, oh, you got to go with Porkins. But you got to go with
Porkins. But seriously, try. I don't know. I can outdrink that guy. I can outdrink a lot of people, but
I don't think you can. I think you should try. I don't know how you're going to do it, but I think you should try. Brian just said that's what he said. He said, always got to hang with the band. You always got to hang with the band.
Always got to hang with them.
Always got to hang with them.
Now, John, you had an honorable mention on yours.
I did. Well, yeah. My honorable mention was Padme. Do I need to tell you why?
Because she's hot.
Yeah.
That when she's climbing that pole and the white thing and with their suit. And
just conveniently ripped off the midriff.
Exactly.
Didn't hurt her at all. Just ripped off the midriff of her clothes.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah. So that was my honorable mention. So there you go. All right. Yeah. I mean, this is great. How much are you looking forward to getting back to a beer fest?
I'm looking forward to hanging out with people. Right? I'm looking forward to being social. I can't wait. I'm going to high five every motherfucker that comes through that gate. I might lick a stranger or two at this point. I'm just, I can't.
Full on face lick.
Yep.
Why not? Yeah.
From fucking neck to fucking top of the head. Yeah. It's been too long, man. I mean, I'm a social animal, my team is social animals. We like to see people congregate. We like to see people celebrate.
Mm-hmm. Well, the one thing we didn't do is list the musical acts. Tell us who's playing.
All right. So yeah, cool. So session 1 is kind of a dual headline. Early November and Knuckle Puck. And if you're on Gaslight Anthem Radio, they actually both play a bunch. And then session 2, we pulled in a favor, with Chris from Less Than Jake, and first time we've ever had a band repeat. And I think if we're going to get a band to repeat, Less Than Jake was
Less Than Jake was it,
yeah. And Face to Face, Face to Face, punk rock, just a great friggin' band. Now, what people don't realize is the Forgivers are opening for Face to Face. The Forgivers are essentially Gaslight Anthem without Brian Fallon.
Really?
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean listen, the lineup is I couldn't be happier with the lineup. It's just great to be getting back to it in live music, and I think it's going to be the first real big concert of live music in Atlantic City, probably in South Jersey, if not all of New Jersey. So, I mean, we're happy that the band's committed, and we're like, yeah, man, we're in. We want to play. We want to have a good time.
That's awesome. I can't wait. It's great.
Yeah, man.
Dave, a few years ago, I think it was either 2018 or I think it was 2018, John put out right after the beer fest, he says, who would you like to see band-wise at the next beer fest? And I was one of the first to comment. I put Rush.
Yeah.
But I didn't think it was going to be possible, but I had to try anyway. So
right.
Now, unfortunately,
I'm sure you got to like Foggy.
If I did,
you liked it within 3 seconds.
Yeah.
If I did Rush, I would have to do Primus.
That's fine. That's fine.
I
don't think you either complain.
I saw Primus open up for Rush once, and you know what Primus opened up with? A Rush song.
So when Primus tours, they play Rush songs.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. They opened up. Primus opened up with YYZ, so I got to see YYZ played twice in one night. It was great. So, but that was funny. I've seen Rush just a few times. 24. But in any event, I digress.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I know. I use the Tomism.
You just channel Tom.
What do you have to say to everyone coming this year?
Be cool, man. Come out, have a good time. This is an opportunity that we get to celebrate together. I think if 2020 taught us anything, is that we didn't celebrate enough, right?
Mm-hmm.
We were at each other's throats, because of the internet, right? And I think that probably wouldn't have been as aggressive if there were more forms of celebration and togetherness and something that brings everybody together. And craft beer does that. And I've learned that over the last 16 years that we can have difference in opinions on politics and whatnot, but when everybody kind of breaks bread and drinks beer together, we can find common ground. And I think that's the big message. And get your fucking tickets soon, because this shit's selling out.
Yeah.
Yep. And was it Michael Jackson said, beer is the great social lubricant?
Correct.
There you go. It absolutely is. That's for sure. All right.
Okay. So here, you see Brian's last comment?
I did not. Oh, spoiler alert. There you go.
Should I make the admission?
Make the admission.
I have never been to an AC Beer Fest.
So fucking gross. So gross.
Can I make the admission?
You made up.
I've never missed.
You've made up for me.
Yep. John made up for it. He's covering your slack, David.
I pick up your slack. There you go. There you go. And he said, and Brian also said, can't wait. See you soon. And that's not just to John. That's to everybody. Awesome. So Brian wants to see everybody too. Same thing. It's all about being social and getting back to some form of normalcy.
Oh, he's talking about his son, David.
What's that?
He's bringing his son with him.
Oh, he's talking about his son, David. David will join me at one session. There you go. Oh, that was a spoiler alert. So he wasn't just telling you. He wasn't telling you that you have to join him at one session. Yes, this is actually going to be the first beer fest that Brian's son
is of age.
Of age for.
Nice.
Absolutely. So
Nice.
last year would have been the first.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
But there you go. So
We're making it happen. Looking forward to seeing Brian and Dave and David.
exactly, and everybody. It's going to be great. It's going to be great, folks. Finally get back to that. John, don't go anywhere. We'll talk after we sign off. We'll wrap up the show for today on that note. We want to thank everybody for watching, and for those of you just listening to the audio podcast, thanks for listening. Don't forget to visit our website, www.lagerroom.com. That's LAGERROM.com. And please remember, like us and follow us on all of our social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and our YouTube channel. All of them are at The Lager Room. Remember, we go live with the video podcast on both Facebook and YouTube every Tuesday night at 6:30. And for those of you that just want to listen to the audio podcast, you can do so on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, and Stitcher. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to one or more of those feeds, and you'll never miss a show. Again, thanks for following along with us. John, thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate it now, and wish you all the luck. Hopefully this year goes off without a hitch. Hopefully it moves you on to even bigger things. You can't get much bigger than you already are, but you can try. You can try. You got to keep it at it. So and good luck with everything, and we will definitely see you soon, folks. Enjoy. Have a great rest of your week. Have a wonderful weekend. Drink a lot of beer. Drink responsibly. Enjoy everything, and we will see you soon, folks. Take care.
Drink much and prosper.
Cheers.
They found him face down in his waffles, maple syrup dripping from his fake robe. Who did he see when he heard who was there? Now it seems that he's shit out of luck.